Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jikook Moments. Yesterday, something we had all been waiting for finally happened. We saw them together again. OT7. 7 people. 1 room. 1 shared breath. 1 familiar energy that, for so long, we had only been able to miss from afar. For many fans, it felt almost unreal, like a memory stepping out of the past and becoming present again. And yet, if we are being honest, in the middle of the laughter, the teasing, and the unmistakable comfort of all 7 members together, there was something that couldn't be ignored. Something subtle. Something quiet. Something that always finds its way to the surface, even when no one is trying to show it. A look. The pause. A small moment that carried far more meaning than it appeared to at first glance. Because when Jungkook imitated Jimin's father, it wasn't just a joke. It was a detail. And details like that belong only to people who are genuinely close. In this moment, we are invited to look beyond what is loud and obvious, and instead pay attention to what is soft. Those fleeting gestures that don't demand attention, but somehow hold it anyway. The moments that don't shout, don't perform, and yet quietly say everything about the bond between Jimin and Jungkook. So stay until the end. Because sometimes, the most honest truths appear precisely when no one is trying to prove anything at all. The OT7 Live brought all the members of BTS into the same space once again, truly together, breathing the same air, sharing the same laughter, creating the kind of warmth that only exists when they are all present. It was a scene fans had longed for, a feeling that had lived only in memories and hope for far too long. And yet, as it often happens when it comes to Jimin and Jungkook, the world around them seemed to gently fade, not because the others disappeared, but because focus naturally shifted. There is a quiet gravity between them, something almost imperceptible, yet impossible to deny once you feel it. Amid the lively chaos of OT7, the overlapping voices, spontaneous jokes, shared laughter, and the familiar warmth only BTS can create, there was one thing that remained unchanged. Those looks. The kind of looks only the two of them understand. The kind that never ask for attention, yet somehow steal it effortlessly. Silent, loaded with meaning. Looks that don't need explanation, because they already say everything. It is remarkable how, even when surrounded by 6 other people, they can find each other without trying. As if their awareness of one another is so deeply ingrained that it no longer requires signals, codes, or words. The way Jungkook understands Jimin, and the way Jimin responds, feels instinctive, natural, almost inevitable. This is not something forced, not a role, not something performed for the camera. It is something that has grown quietly over time. Something lived, something real. You see it in the smallest gestures, the ones easy to miss if you aren't paying attention. In spontaneous reactions they may not even realize they're having. In the way they anticipate each other's words or actions, as if they had been reading each other's thoughts, or perhaps each other's hearts, for years. And then, there was that moment. A moment that might seem insignificant to some, easy to overlook, but for those who truly watch, it spoke louder than any dramatic gesture ever could. Jimin and Jungkook began imitating Jimin's father. And no, Jungkook wasn't just copying randomly. He imitated the exact way Jimin's father calls his name. The tone, the rhythm, the emphasis, even the intention behind it. His body language matched it too. It was far too precise to be coincidence. Details like that cannot be learned from a few clips or casual stories. They don't come from observation at a distance. This kind of knowledge comes only from real closeness, from time spent together away from cameras, away from stages, away from millions of eyes. And in that small, almost throwaway moment, something quietly revealed itself. Jungkook knows Jimin's family. And Jimin clearly knows Jungkook's. There is trust there. There is comfort. There is a sense of safety that exists beyond fame, beyond performances, beyond live broadcasts watched by millions. It is in these intimate, everyday moments, often invisible to the outside world, that the true strength of their bond becomes most tangible. Because in the end, it is not grand gestures that speak the loudest. It is the small things, A lingering look, a knowing smile, a perfectly accurate imitation, a reaction too honest to hide. Moments that appear simple, yet quietly insist that what exists between Jimin and Jungkook is real, deep, and irreplaceable. And yes, even surrounded by the warmth and joyful chaos of OT7, there is always something unmistakably special between them. An invisible thread that continues to reveal itself, broadcast after broadcast, even when not a single word is spoken. During the live, the members also spoke thoughtfully about their upcoming album, reflecting on the journey that brought them here and the meaning behind reuniting after such a long time apart. Jin began calmly, explaining that this was something they had all known for a while but couldn't talk about earlier. Namjoon immediately confirmed it, reinforcing that this was a shared understanding among all 7. Jimin added that ARMY might feel surprised, or even confused, wondering why the album was titled Erarang. Taeyong nodded, agreeing that he had felt the same. Hoseok, with his signature humor, laughed and joked about whether it would feel that emotional. Jimin explained that global armies might ask what Erarang truly means, while Korean armies might wonder why they chose it specifically. Jungkook chimed in lightly, mentioning that practice was going well, that they were meeting and rehearsing regularly. A simple statement, but one filled with dedication. Namjoon then spoke more deeply. When they came together, he explained, they spent time reflecting on who they are as a group, where they come from, and what they want to express. All 7 members are Korean, and they wanted to include something that genuinely represents their roots. That was why the album became Erarang. He shared that Erarang can be interpreted in many ways. The lyrics themselves are abstract, but for them, it is closely tied to longing and love. Feelings that become especially strong during time in the military. Hoseok and Jungkook nodded quietly, no extra words needed. They revealed that each member worked on around 10 songs, nearly 100 in total, with 14 ultimately selected for the album. Jimin recalled how, at a previous concert, fans had guessed the number of tracks, surprising Jungkook with how accurate they were. The conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter, nostalgia about K-in Paris 10 years ago, memories of dancing with full energy, and Namjoon's reflection that somehow, 10 years later, everything had come together as their own version of Erarang. As the live drew to a close, the atmosphere lightened. They joked about visuals, album logos, Jungkook sketches, and a future tour with a 360-degree stage. Namjoon reminded everyone that the album would be released on March 20th, at the beginning of spring, a symbol of new beginnings. Finally, Taeyong said it was time to end the broadcast. Jimin softly asked if he wanted to eat. Taeyong said yes. And just like that, the live ended, leaving behind warmth, longing, and a quiet certainty in the hearts of viewers. BTS has returned as 7. Together, and full of love. The broadcast may have ended. The cameras turned off. The screen went dark. But what remained felt more real than ever. BTS is back as OT7, warm, united, and grounded in who they are. They shared stories, dreams, and the long road toward Erarang, about roots, longing, and identity. And within it all, those small, sincere bonds never disappeared. The looks that need no explanation. The gestures too honest to be coincidence. Because in the end, it is not the biggest moments that speak the loudest, but the smallest details, understood only by those who truly know each other. Thank you for watching Jikook Moments. If you felt that same warmth, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we'll continue to preserve the small moments that quietly say everything. See you in the next video.